State Representative Raymond Crews here for just a little bit. Hey, Mr. Raymond, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Robert. How about you?
Well, Alan Seabaugh, State Rep Alan Seabaugh posts on Facebook last night that things were going, if not exceedingly well, at least there was sort of a light at the end of the tunnel. And then at the last minute, what I inferred from his post was that the Democrats did sort of a double cross, a double deal. They reneged. First of all, what's he talking about? Is he right? What happened that the whole thing seemed to have imploded?
Well, like the old saying goes, it seems like there was a failure to communicate. It appears that the governor and the caucus weren't really on the same page, and that didn't really become evident until recently. So I guess he's going to have some explaining to do to the members of the Democratic and the Black caucus there.
So what was the deal? What was the potential deal? What was on the table that all of a sudden, according to Mr. Allen, that the Democrats said, no, we want $930 million in new taxes? Do I understand that correctly?
Well, the whole thing from the beginning was the Speaker and the Republican caucus have always held steady that, hey, we're not going to give you the whole $994 million. We don't even believe there's that big of a hole. We're willing to work with you a little bit on that, a couple $100 million, but we're also going to take some reform measures. And we've been clear about that from the beginning, and the governor was apparently fine with that, and that's what he said he could deliver on his side was a quarter-cent sales tax or whatever. And apparently he didn't talk with the members, and that's not what they apparently agreed on. They wanted an income tax change, and they weren't willing to move on that.
Did anything of any substance get out yesterday?
No. I mean, I can't say it was a failure, Erin, because I'm actually quite happy that we don't have any new taxes coming. So to me, it was more or less a victory because this $994 million that's just a made-up number. That's not what it's going to be. We already know there's going to be near $302 million, in extra taxes coming because of the changes at the federal level. We know the price of oil's been up. That may be another $150 million. There's some unfilled jobs that are going to be about $100 million that we're not going to need to pay out. So you add this up, and we may be 450 to 550. Difference, not that 994. So that's just, in my mind, it's a scare tactic.
We're talking to Raymond Crews. We're nearing into week 2. Nothing's been done pretty much. We got 1 week left. Waste of time and money, Raymond, so far?
Like I said, I think this is the democratic process working out. It's not what, of course, we would want all the way, but it's definitely not more damage to the citizens. So I don't think it's bad in that respect. We've already talked with members of appropriations, and they think they can cut a lot of money out of the budget and not have the devastation that was described at the beginning of this.
That's interesting you just said that. They can still cut a lot of money out of the budget. We've had the governor on. We've had Jay Darden on. The governor especially, is sticking to that. No, in fact, he's not. Originally, he said, I've cut $600 million. Then he doubled. When I heard the giggle, and you can explain that momentarily. And now he's more than doubled down, or at least 1/3 down. Now he's saying he cut $900 million. And I would assume that your chortle implies that you disagree.
Well, if you just look at the actual dollars year to year, what we spend, it's done nothing but go up. It's if there's been a cut, it's just from his wishes. It's not from the actual budget. So moving money from one pot to another is not cutting. That's kind of like my wife and my daughter saying, hey, we're going to go out shopping, and we saved all this money because of all these sales. Well, if you didn't have the money to begin with, you didn't save money. You just spent more money.
You guys don't give the governor what he wants. Does he cut tops like he said? Does he make those? He made a lot of threats. Does that happen? What's going to happen if nothing really gets done?
Well, you got to keep in mind he's responsible for laying out a budget, but House Appropriations decides where that money goes. So they can do a lot of work there and figure out, well, since he hasn't figured out where it's going to be, we're going to have to do it for him. So, I mean, we have a requirement to have a balanced budget, and they're going to make it happen. It's just he does not get all the extra revenue he was hoping for.
As things began to unravel, when they came apart last night, I'm sure it just didn't unravel all at once. John Bell has a reputation as a legislator and as a governor, for that matter, of knowing how to play that sort of legislative hardball, knowing how to get things done, how to intimidate people. Can you give us some sort of insight into what kind of pressure was being put on maybe not only Republicans, but some Democrats, too, who would be a little more conservative leaning to do what the governor wants or else?
Well, I tell you what, Robert, what surprised me is I do think he can make some deals like that, and he can make some stuff happen, but I think he just misguessed who was behind him and how strongly. I think he just thought they would fall in line and do what he needed, and they weren't on the same page. They might have been if he would have communicated directly with them. But we talked to some members afterwards, and apparently he didn't even consult them on this. So that really hurt his chances there.
Now, that's something interesting. Again, he didn't really consider when we had the governor on last week and Jay Darden on earlier this week. I know John Bell told us, Mr. John Bell said, I am willing to deal. I'm willing to negotiate. Mr. Jay said the same thing earlier this week. Do you think at that point they were both? You think they were just kidding?
Well, truthfully, I don't think they were kidding. I think they were willing to deal. I don't think they talked with the representatives to make sure they were going to do the deal-making for them. So he was structuring the agreement without consulting the people who are actually going to vote on it.
Really? I mean, even the folks on his side?
That's sure what it seemed like to us, and that's what
some of
the members said last night.
Pardon me, the Dems in the House, the Democrats, they seemed as stunned as did you or Miss Doty or Representative Seabaugh?
Yeah, they did. They did indeed.
Raymond, I don't see anything on the schedule in terms of you guys not even meeting today.
We're going to go in at 3 this afternoon.
3 o'clock later today, and get some stuff, because you got to get it moved over to the Senate, right?
Well, that's right. There's not much, like we said, to get over there, but
is there anything left of the potential compromise deal that blew up last night? Are there any shards of hope, or are you starting from scratch?
Oh boy, I hate to say it, it probably is from scratch, but like I said, I'm happy. My constituents are going to be happy. They're not going to be paying any more taxes at this point. So
I was just going to say, no is not necessarily a bad thing. You know what I mean?
That's right. I mean, there's some ugly parts of the political process, but sometimes those ugly parts can have some nice little glimmers of niceness and hope behind them.